Mr. Conlon Mathematics, and this is the cosine rule. Now, this is really pretty straightforward as long as you remember one particular rule, okay? And that's how to label the triangle up. So I'm going to draw a triangle like this. It can be any old triangle. It can be obtuse, acute, don't care. Okay? And this is for finding out this side here. So I want to know how long that is. I'm going to tell you that that is 40 meters. And I'm going to tell you this is 35 meters. And I'm going to tell you that you've worked out successfully by using an alidade, and I'll show you what one of those is later on, okay, that this is, say, 38 degrees. And we want to know how long that is. Now, earlier on, when we had an isosceles triangle, it was easy, because we could just cut that in half and work it out. It was no problem. But now you can't. It doesn't work like that. Okay? So we are going to use what's called the cosine rule. And the first thing we're going to do is to write down what it is. Okay? And I need you to learn it. It works like this. A squared equals b squared plus c squared. So it looks a bit like Pythagoras. Okay? Minus 2bc cosine A. Looks really complicated and everything, I understand that, but honestly it isn't. Okay? Because you've used the area formula, half AB sine C, you now understand what A's and B's and C's are. Okay? So in this formula, where does the capital A go? Tell someone else. Okay? It has to go there. Because a capital A refers to an angle, and we want the angle. Okay? So if that's the capital A, where's the little a? Over here. Okay? Where's the big B? It doesn't matter, does it? Yeah? So we can put the big B there, and the big C there, which means the little b goes there, and the little c goes there. So the hard bit was actually remembering which ones to label where. Okay? Yeah. Now we've labelled it, all we now have to do is to put the right numbers in the right places. And that's all we have to do. That's why I use a tiny bit of paper. Okay, so I've got a squared equals, well, b is 35, so that's 35 squared, plus 40 squared, minus 2 lots of 35 times by 40 times by the cosine of 38. And you wallop all that into your calculator, and you press equals, and you get the wrong answer. And that's because people say, oh, I've worked it out. Well, if you did all of that, if I could just nick somebody's calculator briefly, I could, thank you, yours will do. Okay, so I can do that on my calculator, there we go. So we've got 35, and if you write it properly, oops, let's turn the calculator on, it's always a good start. 35 squared, okay, so this is not a graphics calculator, but it'll work, plus 40 squared, minus 2 times by 35 times by 40 times by cosine 38. So all I've done is type it exactly as I wrote it. Yeah. I press equals and I get 509. Now, let's use a little bit of common sense here, gentlemen, ladies. 40, 35, acute angle, 500? Probably not. Yeah. But please remember that that is actually what a squared is. So therefore, a must be the square root of that answer, which is 22. Now, 22.56. So a couple of questions I get asked at this point straight away all the time. Okay, the first of them is, how many decimal places should I use? Well, fundamentally, let's use a bit of common sense, okay? If this is measured to 40 meters, was it really 40 meters, or could it have been 40 meters and a centimeter? It might have been, mightn't it? Okay? So don't go to ridiculous number of decimal places here. I would say 22.6 would be reasonable. As a rule of thumb, you go one more than you were given. So if I give you whole numbers only, you give me 1 decimal place. If I give you 1 decimal place, you give me 2. Okay? As a rule of thumb. All right? Yeah. The other thing to remember is that if this is an acute angle, then this should be approximately smaller than 40. And we've got an answer of 22. Now, does 22 sound sensible? Yes. It does, doesn't it? So 22.56. So when you're doing the cosine rule, and by the way, that's it. That's the whole lot. Okay? When you're using the cosine rule, please, please, please remember that when you get a ridiculously huge answer and you panic because you've got 509, that you've forgotten to square root. Okay? Now, there are some variations on the cosine rule, and I'm going to show you them all right now. Okay? I told you already that a squared equaled b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. Now, there are variations on that one. You could have b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. And you can also have c squared equals b squared plus a squared minus 2ab cosine c. All I've done is just swap letters about. Okay? The key idea here is that the one at the front should match the capital letter at the end. All the other letters have to go in wherever they go. I don't know which one of these three formulas you will be given on your formula sheet. You will be given one of them. I don't know which one, so I'm just going to make sure you're exposed to various ones of them. So you'll see me when we're working on it swap around. Okay, just get used to the fact that what the cosine rule relies on every time is if I'm trying to find that, then I need this angle and these two. Okay? Now what they'll do in exams and stuff like that, just to see if you understand that idea, they'll do things like this. Okay? They'll do something like that. They'll say they want this one x. They'll tell you that's 14. They'll tell you that's 85. Okay? And they'll say, go and work it out. Now people panic at this point. Which angle do I have to use? The one opposite the side I'm trying to find. Okay? Now they may even do this. I've seen this one before. Which angle do you have to use? The one you haven't been given. Because you have to use the angle opposite the side you're looking for, but obviously that angle is 10.
Yeah.
Because angles in a triangle make 180 degrees. Okay? So just don't panic. As long as you use the side that's opposite the angle, you're going to be fine. And at that point, once you've got it, then you just put your numbers on and away you go. All right? Okay, that's it.